We continue to break down the impacts of the big, beautiful bill that President Trump signed into law. Joining us now is Sacramento Mayor Kevin McCarty, a Democrat. So glad you're here with us, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that.
Good morning.
Do you see anything good for the region and California from the big, beautiful bill?
You know, it's going to have a lot of negative impact on California, and more importantly, our people. You know, there's over 10 million people across the country going to lose health insurance. California is roughly 10% of that. So 1 million people in our state are not going to have health care. It's going to reduce funding for school nutrition programs, for student loan programs, all to give massive tax breaks to big businesses and corporations. There is, if you ask a question, what's the one positive thing? They do increase the deduction for SALT, state and local taxes, so people here in high housing cost cities like Sacramento and LA and so forth, Bay Area, will have a benefit to have more deductions on their taxes. But we don't need that. And more importantly, this is going to have major impacts on our people. And also, it's going to impact the state budget. So less money for a state of California to have health care is less money for the state to have available for us to solve homelessness. So it's all going to have a trickle-down impact on Sacramento and our people.
We had a Republican on yesterday, Craig DeLuz, who said that in terms of Medicare and Medicaid, if more people actually entered the workforce, they wouldn't have necessarily rely on that, and that there are a lot of available jobs. Could you speak to that?
Well, some of the, Obamacare has a piece of that too, where it's not just people on Medicaid, Medi-Cal, it's, people who go through the exchange who have employment and who are able to buy health care through that. So it's all related. And let's face it, there are going to be fewer people who go to see their doctor. There'll be more people end up in the ER, which costs way more money. More people will be getting sick. Kids won't be able to go into school. So, health care is a bipartisan issue. And it's very, very troubling, disturbing. And sometimes as a mayor, I have to look away and just focus on what's here in Sacramento. So the choice is in front of us. The president did this. Now it's our turn to adapt. Show up at the polls next November. And, we're only 3 congressional seats away from impacting this, and 2 are right here in the Sacramento area.
You mentioned the polls November, and obviously Democrats had an opportunity last November to not have President Trump in office. What's the Democratic Party going to do to change this?
Well, I think we have a lot of soul searching.
Correct.
We need to find our candidate for president. That's 3 years from now. The House seats are 1 year from now. Let's face it, in 2005, nobody knew who Barack Obama was. And 2 years later, 3 years later, he became our president. So we may not know who the person is who's going to take the reign and help us win back the presidency. But it's these other seats in the House and congressional and Senate level that are so impactful. So I think that we need to say, the president promised all this stuff, apple pie, and I'm going to give you beautiful health care. And now people are going to see their impact. And so it's up to us to be like, okay, articulate how it's impacting people of Sacramento, our local funding, our state funding, and turn out at the polls in 26.
You mentioned 26. You mentioned Democratic. California Governor Newsom happens to be in South Carolina today, visiting 8 cities. What's your take on that when you talk about what could happen down the road?
Well, the governor likes to get out there and mix it up and debate the issues of the day. He's really good at it. He may or may not be a candidate for president, but he'll certainly be in the mix, helping to make sure that we have a solid candidate to run in the 28 presidential election.
You were elected in November, and here we are in July. What's something that you didn't expect since you've been elected? You have a young family. Is it your time constraints, or what is it?
No one ever calls me with good news, Walt.
Yes, that's true.
I get multiple texts a day, multiple calls, and it's really, attaboy, you did a great job with the building department getting this done. It's always problems, but it's a fascinating job. I get to work on city policy and our budget, our youth programs, public safety, housing, finding better solutions for homelessness. But I get to do cool stuff like throw out the first pitch at an A's game. So that's kind of fun too.
Yes, being the mayor does have its perks.
Yeah, it was a little high and tight, but an inside pitch, by the way.
Right. Do you like the job enough that you would run again?
That's a day-to-day conversation.
it is?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. But fortunately, I have 3 years. I'm enjoying it. I want to be effective and have, a good time doing it. And so, so far so good. It does
Okay.
have its ups and downs, but I love my city. This is my hometown. I think we're making a difference. We're bringing about changes to how we address the issues of the day, like housing, homelessness, public safety,
Sure.
programs for our youth. Trying to make Sacramento a fun city. I'm super excited. Like I told you about Major League Baseball here in Sac. We're going to break ground on the soccer stadium very soon. We're going to get that. We're going to get that over the finish line. So stay tuned for that.
People have been waiting for a few years longer than that for that good news. Mr. Mayor, we thank you for joining us today.